Hi, my name is Vashti Williams, and today I'm going to be talking about creating an environment in your classroom that accepts diversity and teaches children about diversity and how to handle diverse issues and accept others. Um, Diversity, first off, to clear that up, diversity is more than just race and ethnicity. It's not just black and white. Diversity is everything that makes somebody different from another person. Every single person is diverse. So that means age makes you diverse, your abilities and disabilities make you diverse, gender, um, learning styles and approaches make you diverse. Even your language makes you diverse, or religion. So we're not just talking about race in this video, but all kinds of backgrounds, and even your family is something that makes you diverse because that's a part of your past that's formed you to be who you are. Now, one of the easiest ways to incorporate diversity in your classroom is simply by supplying your classroom, getting equipped to be ready to handle those situations and make children talk about diverse issues and make them notice the differences between each other. Starting off the year with an All About Me segment. Super easy concept. Have the kids bring in photos of their family or something like a part of their favorite meal or um, their favorite toy or something. Let them get to know each other and really have relationships formed in your classroom, and you'll very easily be able to see the diverse backgrounds that all your students come from, and you'll be able to see the different types of families that are in your classroom and the backgrounds and socioeconomic statuses of your students, and this will help you be able to meet their needs, and it'll also be able to help you show your students how people are different. Another way is by simply introducing them to new cultures throughout the year, showing them um, that, not everybody celebrates Christmas. That's okay. If you do celebrate Christmas, I personally celebrate Christmas and it's my favorite time of the year, but that doesn't mean that somebody else has to celebrate it. Um, the only thing that you have to be careful about that is if you address one type of holiday, you need to make sure you address all of them and not just make it a tourist um, curriculum where you stop and you teach about it and say like, oh, this is what a different way. This is one different way that somebody celebrates this time of year. You don't want to make it too different because that makes students seem like, oh, that's the strange way, like that's why we're learning about it because nobody else knows about it. So making sure that you incorporate the culture throughout when you're learning and not just stop. Like you don't want to just talk about Hanukkah one time and never address it again because that gives students the idea that Hanukkah is kind of weird, like not very many people do that anymore. So that's something you need to be careful about. Also, when you're gathering your supplies, anything from getting um, various skin tones of paper and markers, paint, craft supplies is a great way for students to compare skin tone. Um, Making sure that your pictures of your students um, and like your posters in your room represent a diverse amount of backgrounds. Your dolls and your block people should be um, should have more than just like boys as firefighters. As firemen. There should be firefighter girls. Um, Making sure that your dolls have like wheelchair or crutch or hearing aids accessories in your classroom would also be a great way to show that um, kids are normal and can be normal and have those things, or that the elderly do not always have to have gray hair and a cane. Some old people looked a little different than that. Um, Another easy way is to simply just let your kids tell you how they're different and really know their learning styles. Are they kinesthetic? Are they visual or auditory learners or tactile? Do they need to get up and move? Like being able to show your students and build a relationship to show them I care about you and I want to help you. Like what can I do? And I think this is going to work best for you. It shows them that they may not learn like another person does. Maybe they need more one-on-one, or maybe they really need to get hands-on in there and really take things apart and put it back together to understand a new concept. Um, and the final thing that I'm going to talk about is books, which is one of my favorite things. Story time is such an easy way, a circle time period, even your music and dances, if you make that multicultural, that's great. But multicultural literature is fantastic in your classroom. A few examples I have here is so there's No Fair to Tigers. This book is great because it's written in both English and Spanish, and it talks about a little girl who's in a wheelchair, and her stuffed tiger gets ripped, and she's trying to fix him, and everybody keeps making suggestions, and she says that's not fair to Tiger, and because she knows what it's like to not be treated fairly, and she's trying her best to fix him, giving him a bath, stitching him up, and you also see the difficulties that she goes through where she isn't able to get upstairs and go into a building she wants to go get her tiger fixed because there isn't a ramp. So it really opens kids' eyes to some difficulties that someone might face because of a disability. Also, this book is called Don't Call Me Special, and it's a great book for kids with disabilities with anything from physical or mental or an emotional disturbance, where kids are so often and like, oh, they're special, they have to go to a special class, they need, but people don't always like to be called special, and talks about how it's not, that it doesn't always isn't always a nice thing to say. Sometimes it hurts your feelings because they don't want to be special, they want to be like everybody else, and the best way to treat other people is to treat each person individually different, and treating each person with the same respect, but that doesn't mean that one person should be treated exactly the same as another. One child may need to sit up in the front seat because they don't have the money to go get glasses, where another kid might have glasses and one has contacts, or one kid doesn't have glasses, and so they all would be placed at a different spot. But it's great just to talk about how just because you do something differently or you might need a little bit of help doesn't mean that you need to be called special, because some people need help learning to communicate or get dressed, but some at one point you had to learn how to talk, and sometimes you need help learning how to tie your shoes. So this is a great eye-opener for kids. This book's super easy, great for preschool. Can I Play Too? Elephant and Piggy are wanting to play catch, and are playing catch, and Snake wants to play with them as well, but Snake has a problem, he doesn't have any arms, and they have to find a way to include him. Also, we have The Sandwich Swap is the last book I'm going to share with you. And The Sandwich Swap is a great book because it talks about like trying something that's a little different, and they end up switching their peanut butter sandwiches and their pita and hummus sandwich, and they thought it was going to be disgusting, and they actually got in a really big fight over it and jeopardized their friendship. But once they tried each other's lunch, they realized that it wasn't so bad after all. So the biggest thing with diversity is making sure that every child feels comfortable and accepted in your classroom, and then just providing them providing them with experiences and opportunities to ask questions, and not making their questions always out to be something horrible. If a kid asks you a question that might be uncomfortable for you to answer, take your time to think about it and answer their questions, because they have got to learn. They're just asking because they're curious. you children are constructing their knowledge and beliefs and prejudices and biases all the time from overt and covert messages sent to them every day through their families and media, and just showing them that they are accepted and their questions, their feelings, their thoughts are all safe in your classroom is the best way to handle the situation. Give them the opportunity to explore and ask questions, and your students will be accepting of each other. That's all. Bye.